So we've done arithmetic sequences, and now we're going to look at geometric sequences. All of this stuff is going to work very much the same. The formulas are just different. Okay, and what a geometric sequence is it moves up by a multiple each time. So you might multiply your number by 2 each time, or multiply it by 5 each time, or multiply it by 1/2 each time so that they get smaller. With these sequences and sequences, normally you don't get negative numbers because a lot of times you will start with a positive number, and then if you're continually doubling it, it's going to keep being positive. If you're making it smaller with a fraction, it's going to end up being positive, but just get smaller and smaller and smaller. So usually these will not switch back and forth between being positive and negative. There are some situations where they do. It's just much, much more rare. So it says when you move to one number, you always multiply the same number. It might be a fraction, all right, so it appears you're dividing, but you don't want to use division for these, okay, because if you start using division, that's going to create issues when you're trying to write your formulas. We want to make sure that we're doing multiply. So it says to find the common ratio, you take a term and divide it by the term immediately before it. It'll work for any 2 consecutive terms. So I just want to put this on here. We'll talk about this when I solve some problems. You could do like U3 divided by U2. You could do U5 divided by U4. Any of these things would give you the common ratio or the common rate that it's increasing by. All right. It's very important to understand that you have to use a term and the term rate before it. You can't say you use the bigger term divided by the smaller term because sometimes that's going to be backwards. And you're going to be using the smaller term divided by the bigger term because we're talking about their position. All right, so you're going to use the third term divided by the second term, or the fifth term divided by the fourth term. And that's one of the most important things to understand. All right. So it says to check whether a sequence is geometric, find the ratios of pairs of consecutive terms. If the ratio is constant, then it's geometric. So we'll look at this basically, whatever terms it gives you, take pairs of them and find the ratios for the different pairs, and the ratio has to stay the same for every single pair of consecutive terms.